The racist boss fired a black employee near retirement. But when he saw the consequences, his life and his company were forever changed. Elias Montgomery sat in his lavish corner office on the 30th floor of Montgomery Construction Group's downtown Chicago headquarters. At 59, Elias was the picture of corporate success: a crisp navy suit, slicked back gray hair, and a look of hardened confidence that seemed etched into his face. Over the years, he had built Montgomery Construction into a multimillion-dollar powerhouse, earning a reputation as a no-nonsense businessman who prioritized profit above all else. But beneath that professional veneer lay a man clinging to outdated beliefs. Born and raised in a small, segregated town in the South, Elias's worldview had been shaped by a generation that saw people of color as others. Though society had evolved, Elias had not, and his biases often crept into his business decisions: promotions that never came, subtle favoritism, and dismissals dressed up as corporate necessity. On the other side of the desk stood James Thompson, a 64-year-old senior project manager who had been with the company for over 3 decades. James was the polar opposite of Elias. Dark-skinned, kind, and known for his integrity, James had started at Montgomery Construction as a laborer and climbed the ranks through hard work and sheer determination. Over the years, he had become a mentor to many younger employees, earning their admiration as both a leader and a friend. Now, just 6 months shy of his long-awaited retirement, James stood in Elias's office, a mix of confusion and quiet dignity on his face. "You wanted to see me, sir?" James said, his voice steady. Elias steepled his fingers and sighed, as if delivering bad news caused him some personal burden. "James, I've called you in to let you know we're eliminating your position, effective immediately." The words hung in the air, suffocating. James blinked, stunned. "Eliminating? Sir, I just oversaw the Wrigley Center project ahead of schedule and under budget. My team is stronger than ever." Elias's gaze remained cold. "This isn't about performance, James. It's about restructuring, realigning our priorities." "But I'm months from retirement," James said, his voice cracking slightly. "I've given this company everything I have." Elias shifted uncomfortably, but kept his voice firm. "This decision is final. HR will sort out your severance. I'll give you until the end of the day to clear your desk." James stared at him for a long moment. Finally, he stood and adjusted his jacket, his movements deliberate. "I've worked for a lot of men in my life, Mr. Montgomery," he said quietly, "but you're the first to throw me away like I'm nothing." As James walked out, his back straight, Elias watched him go, forcing himself to believe he'd made the right call. "It's just business," he told himself. "Nothing personal." Outside the office, Evelyn Parker, Elias's assistant, watched James pass her desk with a haunted expression. Evelyn had been with the company for years, and she'd seen enough to know the truth. James's firing wasn't about restructuring. It was about bias. As James packed his things later that afternoon, his coworkers gathered around his desk. There were hushed conversations, shocked expressions, and words of quiet support. By the end of the day, word had spread like wildfire. When Elias left the office that evening, he noticed the difference. The usual hum of productivity had turned to whispered conversations and sideways glances. For the first time in a long time, he felt uneasy, a sensation he dismissed as temporary. The next morning, Elias arrived early, determined to get ahead of the day. But as he stepped off the elevator, the atmosphere was colder than the Chicago winter outside. Employees avoided his gaze, huddled in small groups whispering. Something was wrong. "Evelyn." Elias barked as he reached his office. "What's going on?" Evelyn approached, tablet in hand, her expression unreadable. "You should see this." She handed him the tablet, showing the company's internal messaging platform. Message after message filled the screen. Employees voicing anger and disbelief over James's termination. Many shared stories of how James had guided their careers, taught them, or lifted them up when they struggled. Then came the bombshell, a message from Malik Anderson, one of the younger engineers. "I've seen enough. James was let go for reasons that have nothing to do with performance. It's time we confront what's been happening here. The promotions passed over, the dismissals, the systemic bias. This is about more than just James. It's about all of us. Elias's stomach dropped. He scrolled further, finding dozens of messages echoing Malik's sentiments. Some employees even shared specific examples of microaggressions and missed opportunities for people of color. Evelyn watched him carefully. It's not just the employees. Mr. Montgomery. The media caught wind of it overnight. A story's running on the local news this morning. Elias's heart pounded. The carefully controlled image he had cultivated was shattering before his eyes. Over the next few days, the company descended into chaos. Board members called demanding explanations. Longtime clients began asking questions. Protests erupted outside the building, not just employees, but community members who knew James and respected his reputation. For the first time in his life, Elias found himself cornered, and in his moments of solitude, the image of James's face, hurt, betrayed, kept haunting him. Finally, Elias made a decision he never thought he'd make. Picking up the phone, he dialed a number. "James," he said quietly when the other line picked up. "It's Elias Montgomery. I need to see you." There was silence. Then James's measured response. "I don't think we have much to say to each other." "Please," Elias said. "I'm asking you as a man who knows he made a mistake." The following day, James sat across from Elias in the same office where he had been fired. This time, the power dynamic had shifted. Elias looked visibly humbled. His shoulders slumped as if the weight of his decisions had finally taken their toll. "James," Elias began, his voice soft, "I need to say that I was wrong, not just for firing you, but for everything, for how I've run this company, and for how I've treated men like you." James didn't respond, his expression unreadable. "I want to make this right," Elias continued. "I'm not just offering you your job back. I want you to help me change this company. I want to step down as CEO and recommend you for the position." James blinked, stunned. "You want me to take your place?" "Yes." Elias nodded. "You've led with integrity your whole career. I don't deserve this company anymore, but it deserves a leader like you." James was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "Change isn't about words, Elias. It's about actions. If you're serious, it'll take more than me. It'll take systemic changes, honest conversations, and accountability." Elias nodded. "Then let's do it. Together." The transformation of Montgomery Construction was not immediate, nor was it easy. Elias stepped down as CEO, publicly acknowledging his fail.